You're listening to Stories to Create with your host, Cornell Bunting. Author, motivational speaker, and founder of ES Each Episode. Cornell sits down with inspiring voices to uncover the stories that shape who we are and who we're becoming. Get ready to listen, learn, and be inspired. The show starts now.
Yes. Welcome to another episode of Stories to Create podcast right here at ES Club. I'm your host, Cornell Bunting. I'm telling you guys, I'm excited today. It's a beautiful thing. Today, our guest is on Zoom. So, of course, you guys, at some point when the video is mixed and made and all this good stuff, you guys will get to see the video and you guys will get to see my big bad guest that I have on the show today. But without further ado, I got to tell you guys, a self-made man right here that has been doing his thing in South Florida and now in Jamaica with the realtor, with the real estate world and all this other beautiful thing that he got going. My dude even do farming, people. It's amazing. So we gonna tap into a little bit of that. But first, you guys need to know who he is before who he is now. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Of course that makes sense to you guys. We talk about it every day. Well, every Friday anyway. So anyways, without further ado, help me bring to the stage Mr. David Harrison. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having
me. the boss himself. Listen, I got to tell you, bro. You got the hats. How you find the hats, bro? Because they be fitting you, bro. Like, where do you go to find these hats that just be like, yo?
It's a secret, man. I can't give away all my
secrets. you got to hold that.
It's no longer a secret.
I got to tell you, though, bro. You wear some hat that they just be like, yo, I was made for this man right here. Fit in.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man. So for our listeners on the show, that want to know you and about to get to know you a little bit, take them back to where you were born, where you grew up. What was the culture like?
All right. So I was born and raised in Jamaica.
Okay.
A place from the parish of St. Anne.
St. Anne, okay.
Ucherias. A little town called Harrison Town.
Ooh!
Yeah. So I was actually born in Harrison Town. I was born at home. I wasn't born in a hospital. Grew up there in Ucherias till I was 17, and I migrated to the States, migrated to Florida.
Yeah.
Shortly after, I joined the Army, did a little 3-year run.
Yeah.
As a tank mechanic, then I got out. I was intrigued by computers. I got into computers.
Yeah.
And I did IT for like 19 years.
Yeah.
The last couple I worked for, did software development with them. Got into project management. Then I went through a burnout phase. And I said, you know what? I've always loved real estate. Let me jump into real estate. It's something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I enjoyed flipping and fixing up houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I got into real estate and been doing it almost 6 years now.
Okay.
And I absolutely really love it. But,
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm here in South Florida, and I practice here in South Florida and Jamaica as well. Been licensed in Jamaica now, going on to 3 years.
So stick up in, Sir David. Yeah, we like that. So, we're not going to just give the listeners a teaser of Harrison Town in Jamaica and, tell them a little bit about that culture there. What was that like, man? Growing up there, like going to school, like what was the daily situation? What was that like?
All right, so growing up in Harrison Town, it really I still have some of my fondest memories there.
Yeah.
So I think that's where you mentioned farming.
Yeah.
So I grew up where my uncle lived across the street, so he had pretty much all the fruit trees that you can think of.
Yeah.
Like from the rarest to the most common. So all the different mangoes, nutmeg, the apple, Nesberry,
Mad.
everything, all the different mangoes.
Yeah.
Guava, orange, everything. So, I think that's where I kind of got into loving farming. So here now that I live in South Florida, I try to do the same thing, try to plant some of the same trees and, try to live somewhat off the land a little bit.
Yeah.
But those childhood memories still stick with me.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to move back to Jamaica just because of that. Like, Jamaica still has the biggest piece of my heart.
So let me ask you, because, people always talk about farming in Jamaica and understanding yam, because they never understand the movement of yam, because you plant it one place and when you got to get it, you have to go somewhere different. You ever had to experience that?
Well, to tell the truth, I didn't grow too much yam growing up in Jamaica, but here, I got into it. But you pretty much stay where you planted.
Yeah.
Unless you wait until the vine dies down and you don't mark where it is, then you got to really kind of, scratch the ground to find out where it is.
If you don't mark where you planted, it's gonna move.
But if you know where you planted, you know.
Yeah.
Where you planted, you know.
Yeah.
It might take a little time to find it if you wait till the vine dries down, because once the yam is ready, the vine dies down.
Okay. So
you have to kind of, scratch. It's not going to move, but you got to have to scratch on the ground to find exactly where it is.
Okay. Yeah. I like that, man. So in St. Ann, because a lot of people now that go to Jamaica, they're fascinated with St. Ann and especially Duns River Falls. Right. But with all the different, amenities that Ocherius had to offer, was a lot of that there when you were growing up?
So, growing up in Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
I didn't go to the Duns River Falls until I moved to the States, and then I went back for the first time.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah.
So, a lot of the amenities so we didn't see that as stuff to experience because we already were experiencing a lot of that stuff growing up.
Right.
So, I don't know if you know, but Ocherius stands for 8 rivers. Right?
Yeah.
So, Duns River Falls is just one of the rivers.
Yeah.
So there are other rivers. There was a river like 5 minutes walking distance from my house.
Yeah.
And it has waterfalls, not as beautiful as Duns River, but somewhat similar.
Right.
So we used to go to the river to shower when water gone.
Yeah.
We got the river beat.
Yeah.
Got the river go swim.
Yeah.
Go and get the water beat on your back like a massage.
Yeah.
So for me growing up, I didn't really was into the tourist stuff.
Okay.
Because we were used to it growing up. So St. Ann has a lot of activities, and some of the stuff that's there now, they weren't there when I was growing up, like Mystic Mountain, Dolphin Cove, none of that stuff was there. So they kind of made it more touristy.
Yeah.
And even if a place is not in Ocherius, because everybody's familiar with Ocherius, they automatically call it Ocherius. Like even the airport that they just opened up, Ian Fleming.
Yeah.
Right? The international airport, and they call it Ocherius, but it's actually in St. Mary.
Right. That's over in like a Rockabessa side, yeah.
No, it's in Boscobel.
Oh, Boscobel. So before Rockabessa.
Right.
Okay.
Before Rockabessa. Yeah. So just not too far once you cross over White River, which is the river that borders the two parishes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ocherius, just because of the name, a lot of things they give it the name Ocherius just because people was like, all right, Ocherius.
Yeah.
And yeah, because people are familiar with it.
Yeah. I like that, man. Now, do you have siblings that grew up with you down there in Jamaica?
Yes, so I'm from a large family. I had 7 other siblings that grew up with us, that grew up with myself.
Yeah.
But they're no longer, everyone is here now in the States, except for one of my siblings. I lost one of my siblings last year.
Oh, man, condolence, yeah.
We pretty much grew up, and we grew up pretty close. But, coming to America, how America is, changed a lot of the dynamics as far as, us being close, not as close as we used to be, but, life still goes on. It's a part of life. So you just got to grow and just, keep it moving, as one of my good friends always says.
Yeah, man. Now, so school life, because, a lot of people always thought that schooling in Jamaica was the same as schooling here in like this country where we live, America. And then they go to Jamaica and see it's very different. How strict was your school when you were going to school down there?
Well, it was strict, but for me, because I grew up very sheltered, right? I grew up in the church. My dad was a disciplinarian. So I was never a child that got in trouble.
Wow.
The teachers, I never even used to play in school.
What?
I never used to play. Like, the teacher used to ask my parents if something is wrong.
Yeah.
I've always, like, from I can remember, even from basic school, I went to basic school.
Yeah.
I would go to school, and the same way I go to school, I come out the same way clean. Right? Wasn't much of a talker. Was very introverted.
Yeah.
Would go to school and come home before I even watch cartoons or do nothing. I do my homework.
Oh, man.
So I was very disciplined from a young age.
Yeah.
Knew what I wanted. Then, I left from basic, went to primary school, went through the different, grades. And then I passed my common entrance at the age of, I think it was the age of 9.
Yeah.
Started high school for my before my 9th birthday.
Okay.
I started high school.
Okay.
Yeah. We went to Fernwood High School, which is up in Claremont, St. Anne, like on the way to 9 Mile, where Molly's from.
Yeah.
Kind of gives an idea of where to find that area. But yeah, I was very disciplined. Never got into really any trouble. I had maybe like one fight in high school, and that was because I was bullied by this guy. He always used to pick on me.
Yeah.
And but I was never, like I said, I was never a proud child. My aunt also taught at the school, and then I lived with her for the last 2 years of my high school. So I had to make sure that I did the right thing.
Right.
So, but yeah, school in Jamaica, it is strict. The teachers, they want to make sure that you learn.
Yeah.
They have a vested interest in making sure that you learn.
Right.
In the 5th grade, this was one of my most remarkable years. When I was in grade 5, my teacher, she was like one of the top producing teachers there.
Yeah.
So her class had the most students. Like we had like 50-something kids in the class.
Wow.
And she would leave. I think we had like 55.
Yeah.
And she would leave work for us to do, like travel, because she had a store. Like she used to buy and sell clothes. And she would leave assignments for us to do. And, she would come back and everybody do their assignments. Out of the 55, it was only 10 that didn't pass common entrance.
Wow.
So, we all passed common entrance and, went to high school. But she was a disciplinarian, and being the fact that I actually lived across, because I had moved from Harrison Town and moved, closer to the school in a little place called Milford.
Yeah.
Which is, as soon as you coming out of Ocho Rios, if you know the geography, you come out of where it used to be a runabout, now it's a 4-way intersection.
Right.
So as you pass the high school, come up on the hill,
yeah,
pass the anchor church, pass the library, pass the cemetery, then the school is right there.
Okay.
So I used to live literally across the street.
Yeah.
So I could stay at my house and hear the school bell ring.
Man.
And then my dad was a plumber, so he used to take care of all the plumbing stuff at the school. So he knew the principal, he knew my teacher, he knew everybody. So,
yeah,
I really couldn't, give any trouble. And then, like I said, growing up in the church, I was already, I didn't see it at the time, but I guess I was a young leader in the community.
Right.
So I had to set an example.
Yeah.
So I didn't, couldn't get in any trouble, which I didn't. But my dad never wanted us to have friends, never wanted to play with the neighbor who used to give trouble because, show me a company, tell you who you are.
Right.
Dog, rap, plea, those little Jamaican idioms that, people use and, they got to figure out what they mean. But as a young kid, you kind of knew what it meant because my dad, he always used to speak in parables, and you have to figure out what he meant. What he meant. But yeah, he was strict disciplinarian, so I really couldn't get in any trouble.
Yeah,
I really had to set examples. So yeah, growing up, it was kind of hard sometimes, knowing that you want to go out and play with other kids, but my dad knew what it was like.
Yeah,
I guess to make sure that you stay disciplined. And now I'm the same way because I don't really have many friends.
right.
I mean, I have people that you got to have people in your circle, but I don't have too many friends. So I think that kind of molded me to where I'm at now, and being where I am and being successful in life.
Yeah. I like that, man. I like that, and I think a lot of people appreciate more when there's more structure, and I think that's one of the things I like about the school, because you had to wear uniforms, and uniforms had to be clean.
Of course.
Shoes polish and shine.
Shirt tucked in, all of that stuff,
Yeah, man. So so you did high school from an early age, so you left high school early.
I left high school at 15 and a half.
Wow, man.
Yeah,
that's amazing, man. So after high school, you went right into the work world.
No, I was working for them 2 years. I think I was working on and off, but to tell you the truth, I was working at a young age. I remember I was working at he was a priest for the church, and he had a syrup and seasoning shop, and I used to work there on the weekends, do little stuff on the weekends there. But I think after high school, I worked there for a little while.
Okay.
And then 2 years after high school, then I migrated to the States.
Okay. So you came to America early, man.
I came here at 17.
Was there a culture shock for you, or it was okay?
It was definitely a culture shock. And even more of a culture shock was when I joined the Army.
So, what age did you join the Army?
18, right after maybe 6-7 months after I turned 18.
Okay, man. So you were based in America. You did most of your time in America.
In America, yeah. I was deployed to Kuwait for 4 months.
Okay.
And then the majority of the time I was stationed in Fort Stewart in Georgia, which is like a little town called Hinesville, which is like 45 minutes outside of Savannah.
Okay.
So I did most of my time there, and then I got out. I didn't want to do it no more.
You didn't want to do it anymore?
No.
I hear you, man. This is something that I think a lot of individuals do, and then there's a lot of individuals like, I don't want to be a part of that. That's right. Too much. So you got out, and then you came into the regular work world.
Yeah. I before I got out, I started taking a course with Microsoft, because before coming to the States, I never worked on a computer before. I was never introduced to computers.
Okay.
So while I was in the military as a mechanic, my unit that I was with, they deployed them, but I wasn't in that rotation that got deployed initially. So they didn't have a space for me to be, because my unit was gone. So they put me in the office to work. So I started working in the shop office, taking requisitions, doing their paperwork. And then I was like, man, I'm intrigued by computers. But growing up, I wanted to be an engineer.
Okay,
right?
Okay.
I really wanted to be an engineer. So I said, you know what? I can be a mechanic. I really wanted to, when I was going into the Army, I wanted to be a helicopter pilot. But then the recruiter convinced me that, working on M1 Abrahams, which has turbine engines, would be similar. And I wanted to leave home because I needed to get away, man. I needed to start my life. So I just took it. I went in, and then got exposed to computers, and I want to know how these things work. So, right before I got out, I started taking this Microsoft course to be a Microsoft certified systems engineer. I didn't end up finishing it there in Savannah, but then I got out, and then I started this job in South Florida, down in North Lauderdale, as working on, I don't know if you remember Gateway Computers.
Yep.
Yeah, so I did support for I didn't know nothing about computers, man. I used to read stuff off a script, would ask for help here and there, and when people call in, I didn't know anything about computers. So that went, did that for like 4 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, the drive, because I used to drive from West Palm Beach to North Lauderdale.
Right.
And I was like, man, this drive is killing me. And I decided that, you know what, I'm going to use my GI Bill and I'm going to go to school. So I went to a technical college. Then my parents, my mom and her husband, they had a Jamaican restaurant. So I would work full-time there and then work at the restaurant full-time.
Wow.
So, so did that. And then a dual associate degree program. Then, between that and trying to figure out where, what I want to do, I got a couple of jobs here and there. Then I landed a job with the city of Riviera Beach and worked there for like 3 years. And that kind of really started my IT career.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, Riviera Beach. Where is Riviera Beach?
So it's a municipality in Palm Beach County.
Okay.
So it's like neighboring to West Palm Beach.
Okay.
But it's just a small, municipality. And I at the time I didn't buy a house yet because this was in 2003. So I went to school because I got out of the army in 2000. I started going to school just around about like the beginning of 2001.
Yeah.
At the beginning of 2001, started going back to started school, and then I finished at the end of 2000 or early 2003. Then I got a job at the city. So in between, I was doing jobs here and there. I got a job at the city, and worked there for 3 years. After 3 years, I bought a house.
Okay.
And this is one of the craziest things, man. Like, I literally bought a house without having a job. I lost my job. Like a week before I was supposed to close.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's not like now. Back then, they would check to see, if they would call an employer to see if you're still employed. Back then they did. Now they do.
Right.
They would only ask you if you're still employed.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you gotta lie, and that's one of the reasons. That's one of the times when I had to lie because I had given up my apartment.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to close on the 12th of May.
Yeah.
I lost my job. They laid me off on the 5th of May. And I didn't end up closing until 6 weeks later.
Wow.
So by then, by June 30th, I closed. And by then, I had my lease was up on the same day that I closed.
Wow.
And I had no place else to live. So they asked me, "Are you still employed?" I said, "Yep." They didn't ask nothing else. Sign off on the paperwork. I was able to close and move into the house, and they didn't have a job, man.
Oh man, how long before you got a job?
So I got a job with the company that I stayed, like the company that I worked the longest for.
Yeah.
So this was in this to talk about now in 2006.
Yeah.
So the good thing was I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have to pay my mortgage till August. So I had like a 2-month grace period.
Okay.
So then I was hustling. I was cutting hair because I taught myself how to cut hair. I was, cooking and selling food. And then by closer to the end of that year, I got a job with the company, but I was a contractor.
Okay.
So I worked with them, and then almost for a year, and then I got laid off.
Yeah. Wow.
Because they were going through some changes.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, they tried to rehire me. It didn't work out. Then 2008 was like one of my worst years.
Oh.
I didn't have a job for like a whole year. So I went for like a whole year and 3 months just hustling, doing side hustle, like, cutting hair on the weekend, cooking and selling food. And cooking is one of my passions. I love to cook.
Yeah.
Cooking and selling food. And the last 2 weeks of 2008, I got a job at Comcast. Like, I would apply for jobs.
Yeah.
And people would tell me, you're too qualified. You're not gonna stay. Even when I like dumbed my resume down.
Yeah.
They're like, you're not gonna stay.
Man.
You're gonna leave us. So
right.
I got a job at Comcast doing installing cable.
Yeah.
And I did that for 3 months, and then after those 3 months, and I would drive another long drive again. So I was making, it was costing me because my mortgage was $1,200, and I was only making like $900 a month.
Oh man,
so this ain't the math ain't mathing.
Yeah, it ain't had it up.
The job called me back like a year later. Well, by this time, about a year and a half had passed, and they called me back because I was one of their best installers. So they called me back out of all the people, because they laid off about 6 of us.
Yeah.
And of all the 6 that they laid off, I was the only one that they called back.
Okay.
And I went back because then I was making the double of what I was making, doing, the Comcast job. I was so grateful.
Right.
And went back and stayed with them for another 10 plus years.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, until I just finally, got burnt out, and then I quit.
Yeah, you decided that was it. Enough was enough.
That was it. So I was working on my real estate license for 2 years. Took the course in 2016. Finally passed the exam in 2018. I had a couple failed attempts.
Yeah.
Because life was happening. My mom was ill. My mom ended up having a heart attack and was trying to take care of her. And
man.
And end up just say, you know what, this is enough, man.
Yeah.
The final straw that made me actually quit that job twice, because I quit. They asked me to come back. I went back for 2 weeks. I'm like, nah, man, this ain't it.
Yeah.
That's why then I had my license, and I was only 6 months in, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna bite the bullet. If it work out, it worked out. Well, I knew it was gonna work out, because I tell people that you can't have a plan B.
Right.
If you have a plan B, you're already expecting that your plan A to fail.
Right.
Your plan A can have many, different legs.
Right.
But just have a plan B. Just have a plan A, because plan B is made for something else, and we don't want to get into that.
Right. Wow. And you made that happen, man. So that was beautiful. So in this whole time, like, before you even got that 10-year stretch run, you had to make it happen. So you make sure you make your mortgage and all that stuff, so you still had a roof over your head.
Right. And the thing was, when I quit that job, then I had bought another property.
Okay.
So my goal was the Airbnb, that first one that I bought.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even fixed up. Like, when I quit that job, I never had no money saved up.
Okay.
I just jumped and like, yo, this has to work.
Yeah.
So, you just have to believe in yourself, man, and believe that it's gonna work. Because if you don't, it's not. And if you believe, it will. Yeah,
that's true. That is. I truly believe in that, because I function in that space, where I believe in anything I do. Though I believe in it. I wouldn't do it if I don't believe in it. So, that's a beautiful thing, man. And so now, one of the things you talk about is the passion for cooking. And I gotta tell you, man, you've grabbed the attention of a lot of people with your cooking. So, what's the one meal, when you make that meal, everyone is like, hey, pull up?
So, well, I have a couple of them still, but I make really good soups.
Yeah.
Like, even yesterday, one of my cousin, his girlfriend's birthday, and I went and I made a no meat soup, like a lentil soup with coconut milk and stuff.
Wow.
But one of my other favorite that I love to cook is some steamed fish with some coconut milk.
Man.
Yeah, man.
That's serious, man. You put crackers in it?
I put crackers, I put bummy, whatever you want.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
There's
crackers.
For the listeners, man, they got to understand the seriousness behind some steamed fish and okra.
Oh, yeah, man. You can't steam fish and have okra, right?
Yeah. Wow. That's something about the culture that I think a lot of people are always fascinated with when they go to the islands, is want to experience the cooking.
Yes, sir.
You think the difference is because a lot of the seasoning are really from the, so herbal that it's, people let their stuff marinate more over, like they just do it here. They just do it.
You have to, but even here, you can still get some of the seasonings.
Right.
But the trick is you have to use natural seasoning.
Yeah.
You can't use too much powder seasoning.
Right.
If you're going to use, powder seasoning. I see people making steamed fish and they'll throw some Maggi or they'll throw some cock soup in it. For me, it's kind of a turn off.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because there's enough natural seasoning that you can use that you don't necessarily need that Maggi. And I try to stay away from MSG. Okay. So I know a lot of these seasons that are used has MSG in it, which I know I never believed in using MSG growing up.
Right.
So you can get your natural seasoning, your garlic, your pimento, your thyme, your French thyme. I mean, pimento is like a number one seasoning.
Yeah, man, pimento big, yeah.
Yeah, man, pimento, it has all those flavors,
Yeah.
So I think it just goes back to using more natural seasoning.
Yeah.
And Jamaica has a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I grew up with a dad that loved to cook. My dad was a very good cook too.
Yeah.
I also grew up in I grew up like a Rasta, So I grew up in the Orthodox Church.
Ital stuff.
Yeah, so most of the Ital stuff. So a lot of people think that I'm vegetarian, but I used to eat meat. Well, as far as meat, like chicken.
Yeah.
I pretty much cut that out of my diet every now and again, but I mostly eat, like fish and vegetarian dishes.
Okay.
So, when cooking vegetarian, you have to have flavor. You can't just throw some bland, throw some seasoning on it and think that is it. You have to use more natural seasoning so you can bring out the flavor of the food.
Right. Totally agree with that. With right now, with a lot of what's going on, and I know the listeners are eager to hear your viewpoint on this. Society engagement, because they feel like computer have distanced individuals from engaging with each other more. What is your take on the engagement now than when it was in the 80s?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every young person carries a story of hope, of struggle, of dreams waiting to rise. But in too many underserved communities, those stories go unheard.
At ease, Inc. Everyone has a story. We believe every voice deserves a chance through mentorship, empowering programs and storytelling workshops. We help you discover their purpose, strengthen their mindset, and build a future they can be proud of.
From classrooms in Jamaica to communities across Southwest Florida.
ES is changing lives,
one story at a time.
but we can't do it alone. Join us, become a mentor, volunteer, donate, help us fuel the next generation of leaders, creators, and change makers.
Visit ahasink.org today, because when you help a young person share their story, you help them change their world.
Well, computers has definitely changed how people interact with each other, engage with each other, especially the younger generation.
Right.
Computers are here to stay.
Yeah.
They're a part of life.
Yeah.
And even AI, which AI has been around for a long time, it's just now is becoming more useful and more prevalent.
Right.
But we just have to learn to have a balance.
Yeah.
majority of stuff starts on the computer. Even purchasing a home, it starts on the computer first.
Right.
Just have to create a balance and find time to separate the two.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sound like it's right.
Oh, you got rain going on right now?
I don't like it. I mean, I have a breakfast out there roasting up.
Oh, we can pause for a quick break and so you can go check the breadfruit and come back, yeah? Yes.
In progress.
Yes, welcome back to the show. So, you know, my guest, he's roasting some breadfruit right now, so he had to go check on the breadfruit. It thought rain was falling, because rain now out the fire.
Well, no, it's finished now.
Okay.
It was pretty much done.
Okay.
Yeah, it is raining.
Oh, it is raining?
Yeah, man.
Oh, man. Listen, you got to tell people about the breadfruit, man. Like, people don't understand the importance of the breadfruit, you know?
No, man. And then I see them baking in the oven, man. Like, it's not the same, man.
What?
Sorry.
Who bake a breadfruit in the oven?
No, I mean, you can bake it. I've done it before.
Yeah?
I've done it before.
Man.
But I think it takes a longer time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
takes a little bit longer.
Man, you know, for me, growing up in Jamaica, when you talk about roast breadfruit, I know the wood fire or coal on top of grill, whatever, and, you know, fully roast.
Fully roast.
Man.
Fully roast, brother.
And I like when they roast and then peel everything, and then sometime when you left some, then the next day you fry them then out.
Yeah, man. I eat that, man. That is it.
The right movements. I know a lot of people get excited when they hear about the culture of Jamaica food. You know, how different do you feel it is from the food that we experience here?
Well, you know, as they say, America doesn't really have a food. So they don't really have a culture. Not trying to bash America still. But
yeah.
Most of the food here has been adopted from other cultures. Same thing with Jamaica too, but Jamaica, I think, has more of a natural way of life.
Right.
You know, a natural, way to eat and to prepare your food, because Jamaica's surrounded by water.
Right.
And Jamaica has a lot of fruits.
Yeah.
And a lot of produce. So between that, I think what that really separates our culture from America.
Yeah.
Most of the food that I see here, especially in the South, is a lot of stuff cooked with pork, a lot of fried food, which is not healthy for anybody.
Right.
Much less, us as African, descendant people who are prone to certain, illnesses.
Right.
But I think a lot of that can be controlled by the food that we eat, because your food is supposed to be your medicine.
Right.
So I think in Jamaica, a lot of people eat not just for eating's sake, but they eat food that will be conducive to our health. So I think that's what makes the difference and separates us from America.
Yeah. You getting an opportunity to now be a realtor in Jamaica. How challenging was that living here?
Well, I'm gonna correct you a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get the opportunity. I created the opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that.
I don't know if you heard of the red car syndrome.
The red car syndrome. I don't think so,
How many red cars did you pass going into the studio this morning?
I'd probably say about 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if I tell you on your way back home,
I'm
gonna give you $50.
Yeah.
For every red car that you see.
Oh man.
You're gonna start looking for red cars, right?
That is true. That is true.
That's the same thing. That's the same thing with opportunities.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So opportunities, you have to look for those opportunities. You have to create those opportunities.
Yeah.
So it was, once I became a realtor, like, I'm strong in Jamaica. I've always wanted to give back. I encourage people to invest in Jamaica, build Jamaica, buy Jamaica, rent Jamaica.
Yeah.
So once I became licensed, I knew that I wanted to be a realtor there.
Right.
It was part of my plan, or it is part of my plan, to move back home.
Right.
So it kind of had slipped my mind because, I was trying to learn the business here, and I was like, hold up. 2 years later, right during COVID, I actually started looking about getting licensed in Jamaica during COVID.
Right.
And the good thing is, once you're licensed here in the States, you don't have the same requirements to be licensed in Jamaica. You have a less of a requirement.
Okay.
So it was challenging.
Yeah.
Because it's Jamaica.
Right.
A lot of stuff in Jamaica is challenging.
Right.
I got my license eventually in 2001. But like I said, it was a COVID year.
Okay.
So a lot of stuff, wasn't really happening the way, not 2001, but 2020, and then 2021.
Okay.
So finally got 2021. And but it was a little bit challenging, but it was well worth it.
Yeah. I like that, man. When a female pull up to you and they say, "What is your pet peeves?" What would you say to them?
Why? Too much of them no pull up killing up because sometimes they think that, because I don't know, sometimes I'm extroverted. I can be, sometimes I'm very introverted.
Yeah.
So I've been told sometimes that, I have this standoffish vibe, but really and truly, sometimes I'm really kind of shy,
Yeah.
But if that should happen, like a pet peeve of mine, is people think that my life is easy, or think that things are given to me.
Right.
And, I work hard for where I'm at, and, for whatever I really want.
Right.
But one of my biggest pet peeves is people feeling that they're entitled.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, having a sense of entitlement.
Yeah. I like that. I like it. I feel the new generation is like that now, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And even sometimes, not even the new generation, but it look like it kind of rub off on everybody.
It start rubbing off, yeah.
It start rubbing off on everybody. Like, no one has patience. No one has time. They have this instant gratification. Like even with new agents get in the business, and right away they want to make money. Yeah.
You have to go the process.
You have to go through the process.
You have to go through the process.
You don't start off as a kid and then you start walking.
Right. Yeah.
You don't start off in basic school and then you jump from basic school and go all the way to university.
Right, yeah.
You have to learn the levels before you can move up through the ranks.
Right.
That's just the same thing with anything in life. Like, in order to be proficient at anything, they say you require 10,000 hours.
Right. That is
10,000 hours equates to about, roughly 5 years.
Yeah.
You got to put the time in. My first year in real estate, I never closed a sale. I never did a sale. I had one sale that someone asked me to help.
Yeah.
With that, because she was going through a burnout and she needed to take a vacation. So she asked me to help her out. And initially she wanted to give me 30% of the commission, and she said 40%. Then we ended up splitting the commission 50-50. So that was the only sale that I made in 2019.
Yeah. Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And then from then it kind of, built up to the point where I switched 3 different real estate companies, finally found the one that I felt a lot more comfortable with, became a top agent there. And then I was like, you know what? I wanted to start my own. Well, my goal was always wanted to start my own brokerage because I felt like I could have seen, I could make a change.
Right.
So I did there for almost 3 years. And then I started my own brokerage last May.
That's amazing, man. I know you have a team of people right behind you.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir. A small team, but, hoping to grow it.
Yeah.
And, offer, something different from what other brokerages are offering.
All right. I'm going to throw up a big challenge at you right now. So, 2 concerts happening at the same time.
Uh-oh.
Barry Salmon, Bojo Banton. Which concert you going to?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. But is it true? Damn, man. Well, that's a Bojo still. Because Bojo are really my artist from a long time. We rate very soon, I get me wrong. But
Yeah. Bojo get that one there.
Bojo get that one there, yeah.
All right, our next hard one. This I know this will be hard for a lot of people. And we're going back in time a little bit here. Bob Marley doing a show. Michael Jackson doing a show at the same time.
Why you? That's a no-brainer. I'm not going to go with Bob. No.
They said Bob getting that.
Me, you know.
Yeah.
If you know anything about me, you know, me is a real Bob Marley fan, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Man.
I like that.
Yeah, man.
It's safe to say there's no artist that could put on a show the same time with Bob would get you there.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. None at all.
I like that. I think I'm in the same vibe right there because I'm a big fan of Bob like that as well. It's a beautiful thing. Now you
Michael Cole still not get me wrong, but Bob Marley, man.
Yeah.
Man, sure.
This is
Can
true.
Relate more, you know?
Right.
Can relate a whole lot more.
Right. So where I live, there's a lot of individuals here. They choose one day when the road is full of bikers, and it's a Saturday. You do biking as well where you are. What kind of vibe you get into, or what kind of music you listen to when you go on a bike ride for like a 20-mile ride or longer?
I don't listen to any music.
No?
No.
Okay.
Because you need your senses when you're riding.
That's true. That is
true. You need your senses because you're mostly looking ahead.
Yeah.
And you use your hearing more. You use your vision a lot.
Right.
But those two senses you need. Like last weekend I went riding and one of the guys, he had his music on. And we were trying to get to him, right?
Yeah.
And I tell him, like, listen, I know you like your music. I know you like to listen to your music. But when you're on the road, you need all your senses.
Yeah.
So at least take one of the earpods off. So you can at least, because we were trying to, he was gone.
Yeah.
One of the guys was feeling good. And we were slowing down, but we were yelling. He couldn't hear us.
Wow.
So when you're on the road, you definitely need to have your hearing. So, but most of the times, even driving sometimes,
yeah,
I don't even have the radio on.
I like
because
that.
For me, that's most of my alone time.
Yeah.
And it's time for me to think.
Right. Yeah.
So I try to, enjoy the elements, the atmosphere, the fresh air, and just soak it all in, listen to the birds, pay attention to the road because you never know. Like I said, you need the two senses that you need the most are your hearing and your vision.
Yeah.
So you and sometimes, you're smelling because you smell all kind of roadkill and all kind of stuff out there.
Yeah. I like that, man. That's some word of wisdom right there, and I know my listeners are really appreciative of that. For individuals that want to find you, where can they find you? How can they find you? Give them all of the plug-in them.
So all of the plug-in. So, all right. So I'm on Instagram at David the Realtor Harrison. So I use that handle, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. My website is davidharrisonrealty.com. What else? I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Try to get engaged on social media. I try not to post too much house stuff because, I want to, show that I have a balance and it's not just about selling house because I don't really sell house. I just match people to I'm a matchmaker. So I try to put people in a place where they want to be and kind of guide them, and let them know that, hey, a home is an investment. It's one of the ways that you can create generational wealth.
Yeah.
and also can create some kind of financial freedom.
Yeah.
Starts with home ownership. So
I like that. Before we wrap up the show, I would love for you, because you volunteer, you do beach cleanup and all these other things. You do volunteer stuff right now. You're in the entry area of what that look like. How important is volunteering, helping others?
So selflessness is one of the things that I believe in.
Yeah.
And selflessness means not putting yourself first.
Right.
Volunteering is important. It really helps to show that you're getting involved in the community.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that you care.
Right.
And like you said, the beach cleanup, it shows that you really want to protect the environment, because we as humans, we destroy the environment the most.
Yeah.
So volunteering should be a priority.
Yeah.
Getting out there, helping feeding the homeless, helping with homelessness. The other day we painted a veteran's house that has cancer.
Yeah.
So we went, and she was very happy. She was a single mom, very happy, very grateful. So just getting involved in the community, and people see and know what you're doing, and it's just not just about going out there and you just want to sell a house,
right,
or want to find buyers or whatever. So volunteering is one of the things, and eventually I will create a not-for-profit, and I also want to be able to give back to Jamaica. That's something in the future.
Yeah,
it's part of my plan to move back, and I just feel like a lot of us have left Jamaica. We never go back. We never give back. And we complain about how bad Jamaica is. But if we have taken a step and say, all right, I'm going to even help or try to do something, Jamaica can change. And I am a strong believer that, there's going to be a time when a lot of people are going to want to move back home, and it's going to be too late.
Yeah. I like that, man. I like the advice, man. Listen, man, it was really lovely vibing with you on the show today. We're out of time, but, man, listen. One time we have to bring you in the studio, man. We need you here live one of these times, because you're just down the road from us, so.
Yeah, man, not too far away.
Hey, Mr. Harrison, listen, man. It was a pleasure having you on the show, sir.
Yes, it was a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
Thank you for having me on, and looking forward to catching up with you again sometime in the near future. So.
It's a beautiful thing. Listen, well, there you have it, everyone. Another decorative guest right here telling a tale, and bring you right back right here at the EAS Club, where we bring you stories to create tale. Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thanks for tuning in and downloading this episode of Stories to Create. We appreciate you being part of this growing community of storytellers and listeners. If today's conversation inspired you, please share the show with friends, family, or anyone who could use a little motivation in their journey. A special thank you to our sponsors, EHAS Organization, Cornell Bunting LLC, and Nostril Cheese Chase, for supporting the mission and making this podcast possible. To learn more about our work, upcoming projects, and how you can get involved, be sure to visit www.hissinggorge and www.cornellbunting.com. Until next time, keep creating, keep growing, and remember, your story has power.